this myth that fossil fuels are running out. Now, that doesn't mean that in particular basin that you're depleting a basin or something, et cetera. But the fact that the world is believing that fossil fuels, we've hit peak oil, and that we're going to be running out and not using these things. I mean, this was just being debated at the recent international climate conference called COP28 in the UAE, and they spent 2 weeks debating the exact language about phasing out or phasing down or accelerating the transition, whatever words you want to ascribe to it, about, in essence, what they're saying. We need to get rid of hydrocarbons, get rid of fossil fuels. We need to phase them out. And that would be absolutely catastrophic for most of the world, as we just talked about, because we need more energy. And it's just not true. We're going to be using way more fossil fuels in 2050 than we are today in any potential scenario. So let's just if you just break it down, for example, petrochemicals. Well, we know we're going to use a lot more petrochemicals. We're going to double the amount of petrochemicals we're going to use globally, because most of the world wants to live like us. And 96% of everything that we touch is made with petrochemicals or some kind of fossil fuel product. You look at liquefied natural gas. They're projecting that's going to increase 70% by 2040. So when we're talking about phasing out, no, we're actually increasing, not decreasing. So this is just a fundamental myth that somehow we're rapidly going to phase out fossil fuels. Is just crazy. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, these are stats that come even from the government agencies. I mean, I think it was either EIA or one of them, IEA, put out that, we're going to, some of those stats you just threw out, how much we're going to use more into the future of these different product streams, whether they're directly using the fossil fuels or whether it's derivatives of those. But, like coal usage hasn't even peaked yet, right? Like we're still setting records on coal. And if we haven't even peaked with coal yet, how can we be close to peaking with, oil and natural gas? It just doesn't seem to make sense. The other thing that I've noticed is that people tend to downplay or completely ignore the benefits of switching, for example, from coal to natural gas in terms of those emissions reductions. That's something that folks just don't want to hear, but it's a massive impact in terms of reducing emissions in the US, and it could be around the world as well. And same thing with nuclear, right? It's like a lot of folks have just kind of written off nuclear, yet we have the capability today. Just for some, inexplicable reason to me, they only want to focus on wind and solar.